Okay, so this video is going to be talking about the second method we can use to complete this drawing itself. Now, basically, again, what we're looking at is our oblique plane, which is cutting through our object, which you can see here in our elevation, here in our plan. As well as that, you can see our vertical trace, which is our VT here in our elevation, and our horizontal trace here in our plan. Now, like we've pointed out before, our horizontal trace is the point at which this plane intersects that horizontal plane, so that flat plane itself. Same thing with our vertical trace above here. That line represents where that plane cuts through the vertical plane itself. Okay, so now that we know that this is our plane, this is representing our plane, what we need to do to solve this method is we're going to be using auxiliary views. So it's similar to what we were completing in our previous week's lab. Our auxiliary view, what we're going to use it basically to look at that plane itself, that oblique plane, as an edge view. So you can imagine we're basically looking at our plane like so. And what we want to do is we're looking at it as a line itself. And from that, then we can identify where this plane cuts through this object to identify different points along here to finish off the outline of our cut object. So what I'm going to do to start this off is I'm going to extend my horizontal trace like so out here, and then I'm going to do a perpendicular line, so 90 degrees to it, like so. I can call this my x1, y1. And now what I'm going to be drawing up here is basically the object itself as well as the edge view of that plane. Because I'm looking along this line, I'm going to see HT represented as a point, and I'm going to see the rest of the plane as a line like so, and it'll go up at an angle like this. Okay, so you can imagine that's your plane and you'll be looking at it like so. Okay, so what we need to do now is identify where the line is going to be going up. So what angle is it going to be going at to represent our plane? To do that, all we have to do is take a line basically down from any point along here. Okay, so if I just go for a random place like here now, drop that straight down, and where it hits the XY line, I'm going to take this point up parallel with my horizontal trace and take it up. Just going to get my sine set squares. Make sure it's as accurate as possible. Take that up till it intersects our x1, y1 line. So now we know this point here, sorry, not this point, but this line from the x1, y1 up, somewhere along that line is going to be a point that will represent a point on the plane. So where they can join basically back to this corner and extend to basically give us an edge view of that plane itself. Now, where am I going to take my height? So just like in our auxiliary views previously, if we're doing an auxiliary elevation over here, we have to take our measurements from an elevation. So we go back from where we got that line here, take that distance like so, bring it back here and knock it off. Now that height there is going to be a point in our plane. So what I can do is extend a point from here, which is representing my horizontal trace as a point, because remember we're looking along this line, so it's going to be represented as a point here, and I can extend it up through, and that now is representing our VT. So I'm just going to put in here as our VT/H, because remember we're looking at the horizontal trace as a point, and we're looking along our VT here, and our plane is going to be at an edge view like so. So now that we have our vertical trace basically found here in our horizontal trace, we need to locate the shape of the object itself, so we'll bring them up. remember this is only construction, so you don't have to put it in too heavy. So now that you basically have the object drawn above here, you don't have to worry about doing basically the lines you can't see that's directly behind it. For instance, this corner here, it would be dotted in section here, going down like that, and back here. I won't be too worried about that. Main thing is that you have the object drawn out like so, what you can see of it, and that line clearly here, where you can see where each of the points are being intersected. Okay, so then you can identify all the different lines that are being intersected. So you can see that above here we're getting intersected, here we're getting intersected, and below here we're getting intersected. So what I can do now is I can take them distance straight down and mark them off. Now if you're finding it tough to identify some of the points here and back here, it might be worth your while numbering all the different sides so that it is that bit easier when you're carrying them back. So for instance here, I'm just going to call this one 1 and 2 here. So this point and this point 1 and 2, and there's an intersection point here. So if I find 1 and 2 back here, so if I follow this corner back, that's actually this corner back here is actually 1, and 2 here straight back is this corner here. So that line there basically represents this one, and we can see it's getting intersected here. So if I take that back, again parallel with your horizontal trace, like so. Now I've identified one of the points of my cut surface. Now I can keep doing that. Also, this line here, let's call this one 3 and 4. If we find that above there, this is 4, and above here, let's continue our way up, would be here, and that's 3. The plane actually cuts through here as well on that, so you can see 3 to 4 here, whereas 3 to 4 over here. You can see that's cutting through it as well. So we go back up here. Bring that point again. We've already brought it down for this one, where it intersects there. That's another one of our points of where the plane is basically cutting through. Now what we can do is carry down where it cuts this plane. So basically this line here. So let's say if that's 3, 4, this is 5, 6, let's call this here, that goes up, this is 5 here, and this is 6, intersects here, bring that back, cutting through here, like so. And we also know, just like before, it's going to be cutting through at the line at the back here, so wherever that went through there will be here. Like so. And now we have our 2 bottom points where it hits, so here, so where that comes back straight back here, and it will be here and here. Okay, so all we have to do is join up our points. And then finish out the rest of the outline of the shape. And that's our remaining object there. So as you can see, this surface here, let's call it A, and I'll call this one A. You can see that that here represents this shape here. Okay, so it's as easy as that.